Imagine this. Imagine you're a 28-year-old single female professional. You're trying to move from Virginia to North Carolina where you're going to buy a brand new home, the home of your dreams, your first home. But all of a sudden, you've had not one but two lenders tell you no. Yet, you took the advice, you listened to the builder who referred you to a local lender who was able to tell you yes. And now you have become a homeowner. Now you are generating wealth through real estate. Well, in today's edition of Talk Mortgage to Me, I have Towne Bank Mortgages top producer, Phil Jawny from Raleigh, North Carolina, and he's going to walk us through that specific exact scenario and how he and his team came in and saved the day. Phil, welcome to Talk Mortgage to Me.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm stoked. So you and I have recorded a couple podcast episodes together in the past. We had one that recently dropped on our YouTube channel on Spotify and Apple. But I wanted to feature you in this content, because you do fund 200 plus loans a year. You're helping 200 plus families a year. You've been doing this for 20 plus years. So that's, for anyone counting at home, it's like over $1 billion in mortgage production you've personally funded, which at this standpoint, if I were to do the math, it's like 4,000 clients that you have personally helped.
Yeah, absolutely.
But this one particular story stands out. Walk us through it.
Yeah, sure. So I had a recent transaction where customer came in. It was a 28-year-old single female that was moving from Virginia to North Carolina, and she was determined to purchase a home. She was turned down by two different lenders. And so the builder and the realtor who were initially involved, they were a little skeptical because it was two different lenders. And so they said, hey, if you could take a look at this, see if there's anything you can do, and let us know. So for us, we spend a lot of time up front making sure we understand the borrower's financial picture and story. And I think that's really important for any borrower out there or future homeowner out there that is wanting to apply for a mortgage loan. Your story matters. Your background matters. Of course, your finances matter and your credit matters, but your story is just as important. And in this particular case, the story is what obtained the loan approval. And here's what happened. So we had a customer that was moving. Their full-time job was in Virginia, and she was trying to buy a primary residence in North Carolina. Well, you can't have a primary job in one state and then a primary housing in another state. But when you learned what was really going on, it made sense, and we approved the loan and closed the transaction.
Let me ask you a couple questions on that because, well, one, just because you're not accustomed to this, Phil, but I am. When you have a YouTube channel with 30 plus thousand subscribers, you always get a couple haters. You always get a couple trolls. Like, well, I live in Connecticut and right across the border is New York, or I live in Massachusetts and right over the border is Rhode Island. And yes, you can have a primary home in one state and work in the other state. It's like, whoa, okay, hold on. We're talking about like over 50 miles between where this person was going to work 100%. And where they're trying to live, or over 100 miles.
We're not talking about like over the border by like 5 miles where you could throw a baseball from like one area to the other. It's greater than 50 miles.
Yeah, throughout my origination career, I'd get this all the time with people who are living in New York and they want to move to Florida. And they're like, yeah, I'm going to buy a primary home because I've never owned a home before.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, but you are a law enforcement officer in New York City.
Right.
Do you have a law enforcement job in Orlando? They're like, no. I'm like, well, then it's not going to be a primary home for you.
It's a second home.
It is a second home. But no, I don't own a home. I'm like, well, okay, it's a vacation home then, okay? Because you rent an apartment in New York City, but you're trying to buy a home in Orlando, Florida, but the income you're asking me to use to qualify you is based on you going to work 3 to 5 days a week
Right.
in Manhattan. Like,
Right.
So, okay. So just to qualify for those people out there that may want to start commenting on YouTube really quick that, well, wait a minute, I've done blah, blah, blah. That wasn't this scenario. This person was buying 100+ miles
Yes.
away from okay.
Yes.
So financially, she was strong. She's 28 years old,
Yeah,
but she's
she was-
strong financially.
She was strong financially. She had good credit. She has the down payment. She didn't have the 10% down payment needed for a second home or a vacation home, but she was a quality buyer that deserved to have a loan approval.
So then
on
what
this
was
house.
her story that you were able to extract where the other two lenders just didn't ask the right questions?
Well, it was number one, how often are you in North Carolina? And tell me a little bit about why you're moving to North Carolina. If you're working in Virginia, why are you coming to North Carolina?
And by the way, what did she do? Like in a round of like high level, 10,000 foot view.
Healthcare.
She's in healthcare. Sales, or was she actually like a nurse?
Nurse.
Nurse.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Not a traveling nurse, but still.
Okay.
Yeah. So she's in Virginia. Well, she works literally 3 to 4 days a week, full time, at 10 to 12 hours a day, and then she's back in North Carolina taking care of her mom.
There we go.
And that was the big driving force to getting that approved, was understanding she was already living in North Carolina for 4 days a week, because she 3 to 4 days a week, because she was taking care of her mom, who's an elderly woman that, had some medical stuff going on, and was, documenting on how she had been commuting. And so there was a history of being in North Carolina and still maintaining the job in Virginia. And so with that documentation, she was living rent-free with a cousin in Virginia, so she didn't have a house in Virginia. And she was staying here with her mom in North Carolina when she was taking care of her. So she wanted to buy a house that was closer to her mom to help out. And eventually, she was going to move to North Carolina.
Yeah, so for the originators who tune into this content, it's like a reminder. You have to ask the question behind the question.
Right.
You have to ask why. Why is someone looking to do this? And better yet, do you have a history? By the way, if you are a home buyer and this sounds like your scenario or one similar, and someone in the past has told you no, you should reach out to us. You should look up Phil. You should contact Phil. You should ask T-Lop to help you get introduced to someone like Phil that can take a second or even a third look, because it's not always as clear cut as some would like it to believe.
It's never as clear cut. And that's one of the big differentiators from one loan officer to another. I want to say that as a consumer, sometimes you think that the company, the brand, the logo of the company is the only thing that matters when you're shopping for a mortgage loan. Reviews and online comments for the actual loan officer, that's like the quarterback in the football game. What takes one football team to the Super Bowl versus another? Sometimes it's the quarterback, sometimes it's the defense, sometimes it's the running back. The players on the team matter just as much as the logo. And we see that all the time. Customer comes in, they were with a big brand logo company, they were turned down. Went to another big brand logo company, turned down. There are different ways to view loan files, and with the right initial upfront consultation, you can uncover things that most people look past that cause and contribute to that inability to get approved.
You have a very interesting stat that you shared with me about single women purchasing real estate.
Yes.
What is that trend line looking like right now?
So shout out to the single women out there. I'm a dad of 4 daughters, and this makes me very proud. But then on the same side, a little concerned, and here's why. Because single women are on the rise for home ownership in our country. When you go back to 1980 and you look at the percentage of single women purchasing homes and you compare it to today, the amount of percentage of single women, it's gone up 15%, okay? For single men, it's stayed stagnant. So the single women out there are making things happen in home ownership.
Yeah. So look, whether you're single, whether you're married, if you're just looking for help purchasing real estate and you want to talk to a great lender, make sure you reach out to Phil over at Towne Bank Mortgage. Phil, what's the best way for people to find you?
Best way is send me an email, phil@philjawny.com, PHIL@PHILJAWNY.
And because we're on YouTube, if you have any comments, feel free to use the comment section below. Light it up. Myself and my team check that religiously daily. We will make sure that we reply to you as well. Phil, thank you for joining me on Talk Mortgage to Me.
You bet. Happy to be here. Thank you.